Knicks family, what is poppin', which is your boy. We are back for another episode of the game preview, the NBK game preview as the Knicks try to go back above 500, taking on the Detroit Pistons tonight. And if they win tonight, they go into the All-Star break above 500, feeling good about themselves. And then Julius Randle, who said he wants to be a New York Knick for life, long term, it's going to be an all-star game. Obi Toppin's going to be in the slam dunk contest. Julius Randle's also going to be in the skills challenge. It's going to be dope, ladies and gentlemen. So, hey, we need to get this win tonight. I'm a little bit nervous about it. Derrick Rose ain't there. I'm still not sure if he's going to be there or not. We'll find out. But we need to get this one tonight. Going to that all-star break feeling good. Then have some time to rest up, practice a little bit, fix some things that we need to work on, and come back and do what the New York Knicks do, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and get popping over here. I got my man Divine in the chat. We got Chop Low over here. You know how we get down. Gonna go ahead and make this thing work. You know what I mean? Divine, what's popping with you today? How you feeling, bro?
I'm good. With salute to you, Sim. What's going on to the chat, man? MBK and definitely in the building. I'm good, Sim. Ready to get this thing rocking tonight, man, so we can get this W. And try to go into the All-Star break, like you said, feeling good. I'm excited, 19-18, man. So, like EA said, Derrick Rose or not, man, we got to get this W, man. This would be a big boost for our organization. We going there over 500 at the All-Star break, man, looking good. So I'm excited, Sim. So like I said, salute to you and everybody, man, NBK in the building, man. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, man. Let's get it popping. Chop, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling?
Hey, listen, man. I feel the same way that Uncle D feel. Listen, man. I know it was a bad loss the other night, but DSJ had a triple-double. Frank might be starting. Let's come out and show them. You know what I'm saying? We want to go in this off at the halftime, you know what I'm saying, with the 500 and looking really good, yeah?
Yeah, that's what we trying to do, man. That's what we trying to do. Shut up all the doubters, you know what I mean? It'll be the first time since who knows when, maybe 2012, 2013, that the Knicks go into the All-Star break above 500 if we get this victory tonight. Now, of course, there's questions.
And then you said we have an All-Star.
And we have an All-Star. You know that. And, of course, there's questions around Derrick Rose and the whole COVID-19 protocol. Still not clear, to me at least, whether or not he's going to be playing tonight. I haven't seen any reports otherwise. The last report that I had or anyone's had is that his test came back inconclusive. He was able to fly back to New York, after two positive, or not too positive, but after, testing negative for COVID-19. So one test was inconclusive, then he took other tests that came back negative, so he was able to fly back to New York. And I guess we'll see what goes on from here. Haven't seen anything. Haven't seen any injury report from the New York Knicks. So we'll see what happens with Derrick Rose. We're going to need Derrick Rose tonight, though. All right. I didn't like the way that we looked without having a strong point guard on the floor against the San Antonio Spurs. But, of course, we were playing the San Antonio Spurs, too. Right? So a lot of things are going to look different when you're playing the San Antonio Spurs. Because they're a good team. They don't have stars, but they're a good team. And then they had to play without having stars on their squad. But the Knicks, we're made up different than every other team in the league, just like every team is unique. And we need all of our pieces in order to perform. The last time we played the Detroit Pistons, we put them to bed. Our defense took them out of the game. They played tough in the beginning, but our defense took them out of the game, and we was able to, kind of relax through the game. I'm hoping that it's the same way tonight. The Knicks have to be focused, not mail this one in. I know you're going into the All-Star break. It's just the last game before the All-Star break, and as a team, you can have a tendency to say to let your body and your mind relax, but we can't do this. Divine, I think Tom Thibodeau's going to have the guys ready to play. I think they were embarrassed against the San Antonio Spurs. They have more pride than that, and they're going to come out gangbanging tonight. What you think?
I second that 100%, man. I think after that loss, I know Tom Thibodeau tore into them cats from what I've been reading, man. And it's only right because, they got lackadaisical against the San Antonio Spurs. But I think Tibbs is like, listen, man, y'all really want this? Let's go get it. I just think they're going to be on fire tonight, man. I really do. I think Tibbs laid it to them guys after that San Antonio Spurs game, man. And cause we didn't come there 100% focused, and our energy level wasn't there. And I could tell by the way his press conference was, he wasn't happy. So I think with a day off, man, for him to sit down and let them guys know, listen, man, we in the playoff race. We're going to stay in the playoff race. And, no matter who's there, is not there, is next man up. And like I said, with no Derrick Rose, most likely. But, we still got a good team down there, man. And we just go in there with our lunch pail, man, our hard hats. Let's get to work, man, grit and grind. You know what I'm saying? The gritty committee, they got to make it happen. I just think that they really going to put it down tonight, Sim. I think they ain't going to let the Knicks fans down tonight, man. I feel it in my spirit that they going to go make this happen because it's important. It really is important for our team to get off this game tonight, man, going to the All-Star break feeling good about themselves, coming back off the All-Star game with a week worth of a week off, practice, spend time with the family, also being safe with the protocol situation. But I do think they're going to come out tonight and ball out, man. And I can't wait to get back on the post game tonight, man, because I think it's going to be psyched. Let's get it popping. Through to the chat, hit them thumbs up, man. Let's get it popping.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think, I agree. I think the Knicks going to come out like gangbangers, and lay it to these boys tonight. Chop, you agree?
I agree. Listen, man, you know how they be like, second that emotion? He seconded. Can I third that emotion?
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Listen, remember Van Gundy, right? He was going ball. You could see Tibbs. He got the little things. I think like 3, 4, 5 of them left off last night. Them little strands on his forehead. We don't know what was going on.
Right.
You probably.
There's a couple of things I want to talk about tonight, but before we get to that, let's take a look at the injury reports, take a look at some stats behind the game, and then there's a couple of issues I want to talk about, that we can get to, a couple of discussion topics that I think are meaningful to the New York Knicks. All right. So let's first take a look at the injury report, the New York Knicks injury report. And this is as of yesterday. Actually, some of it's as of yesterday, some of it's as of today. We know Mitchell Robinson is out. Derrick Rose, he's questionable for tonight's game against the Pistons.
And that's included in the injury report? Is that included in the injury report
this is
as
the
well?
This is the injury report from ESPN.
Protocol?
Yeah, exactly. Right,
Oh,
COVID
okay.
is included.
All
yeah.
right, sorry.
And this is from ESPN right now. Derrick Rose, he's questionable. I'm hoping that he's going to play. He's questionable. We will find out soon enough. Elfrid Payton, he's been upgraded to questionable for tonight's game. We need one of those two guys to be there. Frank Ntilikina is day-to-day. And Taj Gibson, we know he's out with sprained ankle. Now, the one thing with Taj Gibson and his sprained ankle, you know what I'm concerned about? We didn't see him twist the ankle. And a lot of times when a player does not twist the ankle, it can indicate a high ankle sprain. And when you have a high ankle sprain, it takes the longest to heal. Right? It takes the longest to heal. You didn't see he came down on his feet. And then he sprained the ankle. A lot of times that means it's a high ankle sprain. So Taj, of course you got to know the severity of it. But Taj could be out for a little while due to that. So it's going to be important that we get Mitch back. You know what I mean? Because those high ankle sprains could be troublesome. They could definitely be troublesome. So, we'll be watching that closely to see what's going on with Taj there. As for the Detroit Pistons, they got a bevy of guys that's out. We'll start at the bottom. Killian Hayes is out. He's been out for a while. Jahlil Okafor, he's still out. You got Blake Griffin. He's day to day. Yeah, I think that has more to do with trade talks and those type of things than to do with his injuries. Dylan Wright is out. Jeremy Grant is questionable for tonight's game, so we'll see how that goes. Josh Jackson, it says he will not play against the Knicks, out due to an illness, and then Frank Jackson is out. So they got a bevy of guys out as well. You know what I mean? And listen, if Jeremy Grant is out, I don't know how much more they got if Jeremy Grant is out and Josh Jackson is out. I mean, who else is going to play after 3 if these guys are out? It's hard to say. It's hard to say when you look at that. Let's take a look at the numbers behind the basketball game here tonight. The New York Knicks, of course, they kind of destroyed the Detroit Pistons the last time they played them. So the Pistons, I think they're gonna come back with some venom. I will say that. They're not just gonna lay down. They'll come back with some venom. They average more points than the Knicks. They average 108.1 points per game. The Knicks average 104.6. Now the Knicks have a good defense, so they normally hold teams below their average. They didn't do it against San Antonio, but I expect and think that they'll do it against Detroit. Right? I think they should hold these guys over 100 points. Under 100 points. The Knicks average 46.5 rebounds per game. The Pistons are about 43. They average more assists than us. They average 24 assists. We average 21. They average 8 steals. We average 6. We both average about 5 blocks. We both average about 13 turnovers per game. They shoot 44% from the field. We're shooting 45% from the field. We're shooting 37% from 3. And we're moving up that. At least for 3-point percentage, we're moving up in the rankings in 3-point percentage. We're shooting well. We're not shooting a lot, but we're shooting well. All right. We average about 26, maybe 27 to 28 3-point shots now. But we're shooting it well. We'll see if we start to shoot more and be able to keep that percentage high. You know what I mean? We're both shooting about 77% from the free throw line. Teams are about even in the paint, 46 points apiece. About even the second chance points, 13 points apiece. And the Knicks are getting better in the fast break. They're getting better in transition, ladies and gentlemen. They're almost averaging 8 fast break points per game. And Detroit's averaging 10.6. Of course, the Knicks are led by Julius Randle in points, rebounds, and assists. All right, and the Pistons are led by Jeremy Grant in points, Julius Randle in rebounds. Mason Plumlee in rebounds, and Dylan Wright in assists. And Jeremy Grant, he averages 1 block per game, and Nerlens Noel averages 2 blocks per game for the New York Knicks. This is a game that, listen, bottom line, I expect these guys to, I expect the Knicks to go out there and get this win easy. You know what I mean? But wrong word, not easy. I expect them to go out there and get this win. I don't know if it's going to be easy. I expect them to go out there and get this win, right? Because like I seen someone say in the chat, any team in the NBA can get hot at any minute. All these guys got people that can ball. The Knicks are currently 5th in the East at 18-18, a half a game behind the Boston Celtics, right? Because the Raptors took a loss. Miami, they haven't played. I think they probably play tonight. Or maybe they don't play tonight. I don't know. I'll check and see. They're 17-18. The Hornets are 17-18. The Knicks are 18-18. They win this game right here, they can move back into 4th place in the Eastern Conference. Actually, maybe not. The Celtics play tonight, too. We'll see what happens. The Celtics and the Raptors play tonight, too. All right, but it's possible that the Knicks could move back into 4th place if they win tonight. They just got to take care of their business. Let me get to my man Kev in the building. Kev, what's going on with you, brother? How you feeling, man? Look, he comes in and laughs. I don't even know what you're laughing about. Frank ain't do nothing yet. I don't even know what you're laughing about.
I'm not laughing about anything, man. First off, I want to commend you and the panel yesterday for, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but for acknowledging Frank, being active and everything. I didn't think y'all was going to give him that praise, man.
He feeling good. Listen, look. Yeah. I've always been a Frank fan. I'm just the realist, too. I'm also a realist.
But there's a thing of being a realist, and there's a thing of showing just a little bit of I don't want to use the word compassion, but a little bit of encouragement.
No, there's no homerism here. I can't do it. Just because I'm a Frank fan doesn't mean I'm gonna be like, oh, he gotta be in there. You know what I'm saying? If he don't belong to be on the floor, he don't belong to be on the floor.
That's you revert back to what you said.
No, I'm not reverting. Listen, this is the coach in me.
Solidarity. What's the word?
Look, this is the coach in me. I've had players. Every coach, don't let any coach lie to you, right? Every player has favorites on the team. Favorites as far as people that they like, kids that they like more, kids that they like less. It's natural. It's going to happen that way. You can't let that get in. You can't let that get in the way of coaching and putting the players that deserve it on the floor. I've had plenty of players because as a coach, you drive a lot of players home. You pick up a lot of players and bring them to practice, right? And so, you have a chance to develop different relationships with different people. And I've had players that I drove home every day. And we would sit in the car and have long talks about just things going on in their life and this and that, right? And develop a good relationship. And they get zero burn.
Yeah.
Zero burn. Right? Because they just didn't deserve it at the time. They weren't contributing.
At the time.
At the time. You know what I'm saying? And it just happens that way. So, just because you like somebody doesn't mean that they got to play.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me put you on the spot because this will really tell me who you are. Do you believe that after seeing everything right now, do you think Frank should be getting a little bit more time over Bullock and Burks?
It's hard to say. It's hard to say. Listen. Hold up. It's hard to say because we've only seen a couple of games from Frank. Right? He could come out and play 3 or 4 games, the next 3 or 4 games, and not do anything on the offensive side of the ball. You know what I mean? It's hard to say. I think you got to see more of him being able to play and hit the 3 the way that he's been hitting the 3. Got to see more of it. Think about it. RJ Barrett went through a point this year where he missed 21 straight 3-point shots. 21 straight. Now he's almost up to 35% shooting from the 3-point line. Right? But everybody counted him out, including me, was like, yo, man, he can't shoot, da-da-da-da. You have to see more. You have to see more from him. He's been in what, 3 games?
2 words, Sim. You ready for these 2 words? Plus, minus.
It's a garbage stat. Sorry, I hate to tell you that. It's a garbage stat, bro. It is a garbage stat. Plus, minus is a garbage stat. In my opinion.
Fair enough.
It's a terrible stat.
Fair enough.
I think it's a terrible stat.
Fair enough.
I don't like that stat at all. Yeah, I just think with Frank, he's only played 5 games this season, right? He's played 5 games. We got to see. I think we got to see it more now. Divine brought up a good point the other day. He said, maybe he said, do you, if Frank continues to play the way he's playing and he proves that he can be a contributor, then do you make a move where you trade Reggie Bullock and Alec Burks, Austin Rivers for somebody like Terrence Ross if Orlando was looking to move Terrence Ross, and then that opens it up for both of those guys, right? It opens it up. There's room for Terrence Ross to play, and there's room for Frank Ntilikina to play. So, maybe something like that happens, but I still believe that when Elfrid Payton comes back and Derrick Rose is there, Frank is going to be the first guy that he decides to sit down. I still believe that.
All right, so is Andy here? No, Andy's not here.
No, Andy's not here right now.
Me, Divine, and Andy had a long conversation the other day after the show. And I've been saving this conversation, and it's imperative that we have this conversation now because we're playing Detroit, right? But I've been saving this conversation specifically because I don't want people to jump down my neck as the new Frank guy, right? Before I was the DSJ guy, but you got me on record screaming my lungs out about Frank, at a game before. So listen to this theory, right?
All right.
So DSJ got traded to Detroit, right?
Right.
Who did Detroit inquire about a year ago? Do you remember?
I'm assuming they inquired about Frank, right? I think they did.
They did inquire about Frank. They did inquire about Frank, and they inquired about him at the beginning of the season. Why? Because they got Killian Hayes, who Frank is acquainted with. And who's that other player they got? I think he's a power forward.
Sekou.
What's his name, Kev? Get it out. There you go. The other French player, right? So they inquired about both of them, right? So Frank came out and balled the first couple games. I think he was like 100% from three. Like his plus minus was pretty high. And for absolutely no reason, unbeknownst to any of us, Frank didn't play. And we all thought this guy Frank should be playing because he's a defensive monster and Tom Thibodeau is a defensive coach, and it almost seems like a perfect fit. So everyone was, a lot of people were upset that Frank didn't play. So me, Divine, and Andy came up with this theory that we're going to run by everyone.
All right.
All right. Frank Ntilikina was purposely benched in order to keep his stock low so that he can be signed again for the cheap and then be made at a minimum the bench point guard. Even though we got even though we got Derrick Rose in the trade, right? Because Detroit inclined about him and was like, nope, we'll give you DSJ though. And because Derrick Rose was pretty much, he was already upset and on his way out of the door, the trade, they said, we'll just do this trade. What we're already in the crapper right now anyway. So what I'm saying is Frank's purpose on this team is there. We have a purpose for this guy on the team. However, we're purposely not playing him. Think about it this way, right? DSJ is gone, but DSJ probably wasn't getting any burn because in practice, Frank's shutting him down. Because if that's the case, then why wouldn't they have traded Frank to Detroit off the rip anyway? So my theory is that, or our theory, Divine, I don't know if you want to raise your hand and nod to this if I'm getting it right. Okay, so fingers up. The theory is that Frank was purposely benched, not because he was a bum, but because they want to sign that talent for cheap. That's all I'm going to say. I don't want anybody jumping, harass me on Instagram, harass me on Facebook, right? Because that's where I'm mostly at. Big shout out to Corey Lee anyway. But I don't want anybody jumping down my throat telling me that, you're crazy about this take on Frank. That's all. I'm going to leave it at that. I don't want no emotionalism, but that's it. Let that simmer in your brain.
I'm letting it simmer. And Kev, I don't know who Kevin's talking to because we can't hear him. I'm letting it simmer. But my question is, if he can help you win, you play him. Because the Knicks have money. What is the point of keeping the contract low when they have money?
Can't hear me now?
Listen, it's I get it. I understand that. Yeah, we got you, Kev.
Okay.
I get it. But you have to think, if the intent is to potentially grab a superstar or two, right? Then you have Elfrid Payton, who is a $5 million contract that you can't trade due to the no trade clause of the CBA because we waived them and re-signed them, right? You got $5 million, or you got $3 million in Reggie Bullock. You got $5 million in Alec Burke. You got another $2 million a year or $3 million a year in Austin Rivers. You have all of these really, really cheap contracts that you play these guys for the intent in boosting up their trade value and flipping them into something. Right. So that I mean, again, I don't want people jumping off the bridge. It's just a theory, but every time I try to justify the fact that Frank wasn't playing in times where we were playing against guards that needed to get shut down, i.e. your De'Aaron Foxes, there was no reason that Frank shouldn't have been put in those games against those point guards.
But see, my reasoning,
I can kiss you on your forehead.
Oh boy! and see, my reasoning is that his defense. The Knicks are already a top defensive team, and so his defense. My reasoning is that his defense didn't add to the defense, right? They were arguably. You could argue that they were the number one and are the number one defense in the league. So his defense doesn't add to the defense, but his offense. So they need offense, and his offense doesn't add to the offense. At least up until this point.
That gets debunked, Sim.
Right.
That gets debunked. Granted, the other day he had a game with no points and all of that, but in the beginning of the season, he was shooting 100% from three.
Right, but
look, the offense is there. It just wasn't being used.
I mean, but saying, the first two games of the season he didn't play.
Right.
He didn't play the first two games of the season. He played against Milwaukee. He had 12 points or something like that, right? Or I think he played. I think he played at the end of the Philadelphia game. He had 12 points against Milwaukee, but I don't think he gives you everything that you need. Right? I don't think he gives you everything that you need.
I think he gives it more than I think he gives it more than Reggie Bullock will. Who's more offensive sound between the both of them?
I'm not here to argue about who
I know
more and what gives you more. That's not the intent of this theory.
Yeah, but I got your theory, and I agree with it totally.
It's just a theory, fans. Don't jump down my throat.
I just
look
something
at
that I've
been thinking about
when we played San Antonio the other day, right? He had 13 points, but we needed something different from the role that he was being asked to play. So he's definitely not going to do it in that role. Let's just say that he's not going to do it in that role because we needed someone that could penetrate and get to the rim and put some pressure on that defense at the front of the rim, and that's not what Frank is going to do, right? So he knocked down 3 threes.
I've accepted that. He's not going to be that point guard to break down a defense like you just said. Right. I've accepted that.
And so I think in the beginning of the season when you look at that, you had Elfrid Payton, you got Emmanuel Quickley who's come on, right? Because initially Frank was playing more than those, in the beginning, he was playing more than Emmanuel Quickley. But then when Frank went out, Quickley got his chance. All of a sudden, it's like, oh, we got a guy that can be prolific, right? And we need offense. We got a guy that can be prolific. Yeah. And that there, I think, set Frank Ntilikina back as well. You know what I'm saying?
And and the other thing, Sim, is you were very strong about once Austin comes back, because he was hurt as well. Once he comes back, that all those minutes were going to be zonked. And now it's like, I don't know how many games Austin hasn't played now. I mean, it's ridiculous. But we all thought that Austin was going to be this other, stabilizer in the second unit, and he hasn't been that at all.
Right, he hasn't.
So why don't you play Frank?
Because he has his 10-man rotation.
Which
Tibbs has already let you know. Tibbs has already let you know he's not going deeper than 10 unless it's necessary because someone's hurt.
Listen, if he wants to stick to a 10-man rotation, fine. But to make things work, he's got to expand it to at least 11. Put one more player in there.
I mean, to be honest with you, in my opinion, it's hard to get 10 players in sometimes when you're playing a basketball game. You're not. I mean, you can get 10 players in because, all right, he's 5-on-5. But to go 11, you start to. It gets tough. It gets tough to start going 11 and 12. Yeah.
But Sam, you as a coach, if you find out in your 10 that one of your players is really not, giving you what you expect, what you're expecting in that game, aren't you going to find somebody else on the bench to replace that, to give you the production that you're asking for?
The thing is this. When you're in high school, AAU, you got a lot of practice time. right, to make sure that guys can get in and do the things that they need to do if you're really looking at making a big change. In the NBA, they have very, very little practice time. You know what I mean? So I think you kind of got to go by, you kind of have to go by people who can. Hey, Kev, you got some what's called in the background. That's why I put it on mute for now. Or somebody has something playing in the background. But you kind of have to go by, you got your rotation and you're going to put people in when it's necessary to put them in because you just don't have a lot of practice time to make sure that guys can get everything, anything that you're putting in, you need a certain level of continuity. You seen with, you seen it with Fizdale, right? His lineups were all over the place. He was trying this guy, trying that guy,
Literally.
this and that, and there was never any continuity. Continuity is so important to a basketball game because it takes time for guys to start to get in rhythm with one another, understand their sweet spots and all those type of things. You know what I mean? So I don't think that, as a matter of fact, most times I bring onto my team 10 players. And that's it.
Okay.
10 players that are going to play.
That's it. So that I eliminate all of the other stuff. And then sometimes we go to games and we only have 7 or 8. But I eliminate, having to worry about, the 11th and 12th guy, because it's just a distraction. I know I got 10 guys that's going to ball and I can put them all out, or ladies that's going to ball and I can put them all out there on the floor and know that I'm going to get a certain level of production. You have the luxury of doing that when you're, when you play high school and stuff like that. AAU, you can say I'm limiting it to 10 players and that's it. And that's who you rock with. You got enough in practice. You might bring some extra people into practice every once in a while, so that you can have some more guys. If guys going to be out or coaches practice or parents practice or something like that to help out. But, it's tough to go deeper than 10. It really is. And it's just tougher to go deeper than 10. So, coaches got their 10-man rotation. A lot of times it's based on trust, right? You have players that, you just haven't built that trust up yet. Once you build up that trust, then you can say, all right, I trust that this guy's going to get it done in certain situations. I trust him. And you got to build up that trust. Yeah, and I guess in Tibbs's case, like we can go to Minnesota and we can go to now. He trusts Derrick Rose. He trusts Taj, even though Taj, is playing later now because of the injuries and everything. But he trusts those guys. I mean, he brought them to Minnesota, and now he's bringing them here as well. So, and then he brought Jimmy Butler too. So, I see where you're coming from.
So, that's that's how it normally goes. Yeah. Lineups tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As long as everything goes well, Derrick Rose should be the starting point guard tonight. Then you got Reggie Bullock, R.J. Barrett, Julius Randle, Nerlens Noel. And for the Pistons, you got Dennis Smith Jr., the dude with the long last name, Sadiq Bey, Jeremy Grant. Now, Jeremy Grant is questionable, so we'll see if he's going to play. Then you got Plumlee out there. So, 2 areas that's questionable for both teams is the point guard spot for the New York Knicks. Hopefully Derrick Rose will be able to play, or Elfrid Payton. We'll see. Elfrid Payton is, he's been upgraded to questionable. And then Jeremy Grant, he's questionable for the Detroit Pistons. But this is what the lineup should, for the most part, look alike. All right. And
Pistons are talking about buying out, what's the name?
Who?
Oh, geez. Who's the forward for them?
Blake Griffin?
Blake Griffin, yeah.
They can buy him out and keep him in Detroit.
Yeah.
I hear you, City.
I don't want nothing to do with that.
I hear you.
And yeah, exactly. Keep him away from New York. Nobody, please don't ask any questions about him coming to New York.
Yeah, exactly. Heck no, I don't want him anyway. So there you go.
Right. We don't want him. No. I mean, I have no interest in Blake Griffin at all. couple things, man. What's his name? What's it called? Got signed yesterday by the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yep. Miles Powell.
Miles Powell got signed by the Milwaukee Bucks to a 2-way contract yesterday. So the Knicks, he's not going to be on the Knicks team unless something else happens with that 2-way contract. Yes, the Knicks signed him to training camp. He went to Westchester. As long as a player is not on a 2-way contract and they're in the G League, they can sign to any team in the NBA. As long as they've entered the draft. Okay. Obviously, Miles Powell entered the draft. He was not drafted. The Knicks picked him up. Now he's on, the Milwaukee Bucks roster as a 2-way player. We'll see if he plays. But this guy at the Knicks.
A couple of things. Who did we have as 2-way players on our team?
Our 2-way players are Jared Harper and Theo Pinson, I believe.
Theo Pinson. Okay.
Yeah.
So the only way that Miles could have been a 2-way player is if he replaced one of them. But that also had to happen before the season started, correct?
No, it could have happened during the season. It could have happened during the season. But the Knicks like keeping Theo Pinson around, obviously.
He's that fun guy that you need on the bench that brings the laughter, that brings the good times, that gives you that emotional support. Like, you see him out there, what he be doing. He be spending more energy than the guys playing, just about.
Yeah, right. So clearly the Knicks like having him around, and Jared Harper, he'll be in the G League. I don't, you shouldn't expect to see Jared Harper playing with the Knicks anytime soon, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that we didn't miss an opportunity with Miles Powell. That's all.
I get it. For whatever reason, the Knicks decided that keeping Jared Harper was and Theo Pinson was a better deal than keeping Miles Powell on a 2-way contract. So. They've got the one thing you can say is they had a chance, to get a good look at all 3 of those players, and that's the decision that they made. And we'll see what happens. You know what I mean? He may not ever get called up to the Milwaukee Bucks. He may stay on a 2-way contract, and next year, have to find another 2-way contract or be with another G League team. So, we'll see what happens on that front right there.
Hey, man, I miss Tony Wooten, man. I miss him.
Kenny Wooten. You mean Kenny Wooten. You mean Kenny Wooten.
Yeah, I miss Kenny Wooten, man. I miss him, man.
According to Ian Begley, guys, Julius Randle said when he signed with the Knicks in 2019, his thinking was that he would be in New York long term. Randle said today that his thinking hasn't changed and he wants to be a Knick for the foreseeable future.
Give him the money.
He wants to be a Knick.
Give him the money.
Now, the Knicks next year, they can extend this contract, right? They can give him about $24 million or $25 million a year next year. Now, if he does not take that contract, or they don't offer him the contract, right? Or whatever, however the negotiations turn out to be, then he'd be a restricted free agent at the end of next season. I thought that he was going to be an unrestricted free agent. He'd be a restricted free agent going into next season. I think what's probably going to happen is that the Knicks are going to pick up his contract. If he's going to be a restricted free agent in 2022, they let him go into free agency, see what teams offer him, and then they have the power to match. That might be what happens if they can't agree on an extension. Right now, you know what? If you can lock up Julius Randle for 4 years, $24 million, $25 million, I think that's a no-brainer. If you can lock him up for that amount of money, Randle may be looking for more money than that. If the Knicks do offer him an extension early, I don't know. If he really wants to be in New York, he might be like, you know what? I'm with it. But if he thinks he can get more money out there on the free market, or if he thinks he's worth more money, he might decline that extension choose to go into restricted free agency, see what a team offers him in restricted free agency, and then get the chance for the Knicks to match it. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be, something that Leon Rose and the front office has to think about going into next season when they're building this team out.
Sim, what would you do? Sim, what would you do? What would you do?
I would offer him that 4 years, $100 and whatever million. I would give him that offer and see if he takes it. Because if you can lock him up for 4 years, $24 million, not only is he a player at a great price for you, but if something happened, the hope is that you don't have to trade him and he continues to grow and continues to build and he's a part of your long-term plans. But if it came to the point where you had to move him for a super duper star, he would have a very, very team-friendly contract. Right? He'd have a nice contract.
Okay, I'm dreaming right here. If he takes us to the Eastern Conference Finals, would you redo that number that you just stated?
Well, I think, I'm going to read this to you because I think there's a limit on what the Knicks can do. So I'm going to read this to you. All right. Under Randle's third-year figure of $20 million, the Knicks could only offer him a top deal of 4 years, $106 million. That's all they can offer him. That would extend starting 2022 and 2023 at $24 million. Right now, I guess you could, it doesn't have to be $24, $27 million a year. It could be, $24 million the first year, and then the price tag goes up each additional year, right? So that it equals $106 million. I still think it wouldn't be bad for Julius Randle. I think I would offer him what we could extend him. I think I would. I would offer him what we could extend him and see where his thinking is from there, right? If you go 106 divided by 4, that's basically $26.5 million a year. Now, they may decide to do it where you get 24 one year. You get 25 the next year, 26 the next year, 27 the following year, or something like that. Or they could decide to say, hey, we'll give you 28, we'll give you 30 in your first year because maybe we're not going to sign a free agent, and then let that number go down as the years go on or something like that. Who knows? Because we've seen some contracts like that. But 4 years, $106 million comes out to be $26.5 million a year. Basically, if it's split up evenly, I'd do it. Mm-hmm. I'd do it. I'd offer it to him. I'd offer it to him and see if he accepts it. Nate, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
Yeah, I think it's essential that the Knicks offer him 30 because, only a $6 million increase in the production he's had, he's going to test the free market. I think if you come in and say, okay, we'll give you 30 in the next year, and try to structure it out, maybe we can say, well, hey, we believe in you now, and we're willing to throw this money at you, showing our appreciation. I just feel like if you go 26 and he's only getting a $6 million increase, he's like, listen, I made the All-Star team. I've increased my numbers all throughout. You need me. And I'd be worried because you don't want him to go to free agency, even though he's going to be restricted. Some team could offer a crazy offer, and we're going to have no choice but to either offer that or let him walk. And then we're going to be in a really ugly situation.
Yeah, I don't want the same thing to happen with Jeremy Lin, pretty much. Even though Jeremy Lin,
exactly.
I don't want the same thing happening.
He goes and ups the cost, and then we have to either eat it or we have to let him go. Now, Jeremy Lin wasn't Julius Randle.
Right, exactly.
But here's the thing with the Knicks is that you have to really be careful with this, because if you come in at 26 and you only offer him $6 million, you're basically lowballing him, and he's going to basically say, you know what, I'm going to go to the free market and go make 30 plus. Now, if you come in at 30,
that's all they can offer him. According to
Yeah,
Bobby
they
Right.
can't
No,
Marks.
offer so much.
According to Bobby Marks.
Then you got to go 30.
But listen to what I'm saying. According to Bobby Marks, right? He's a cap guy from ESPN. Okay.
Right.
According to him, the Knicks can only offer him 4 years, $106 million. All right. So then, that it's all about how you structure it now. It's all going to end up being $106 million. No matter how you structure it, it's going to end up being $106 million. So now you talk with Julius Randle and you say, well, hey, how can we make this work the best for you and for the team? Right? So you look at, what's free agency like in 2022? Right. 2023. You know what I mean? What's free agency like? Maybe he agrees to do something smaller. Maybe he agrees and says, you know what? I'll take $24 million the next year, but then so that you can sign somebody else, and then in the following year I'll take $27 million, and then the year after that, 30. It all depends on how they decide to structure the deal. But according to Bobby Marks, the top deal that he can get is 4 years, $106 million. And then it all depends on how you structure that deal. So the thing is not, to me, the thing is not you got to give him $30 million a year. The thing is, are the Knicks willing to commit to 4 years, $106 million? Because as long as he's getting that 4 years, $106 million, he may not care, how the money comes to him. As long as I'm getting that 4 years, $106 million, I know at the end I got $106 million. I don't care, how you structure it throughout the years. And you've seen San Antonio do stuff like this, right? One year they gave Manu Ginobili what was it, $10 million or something like that. They gave him something real low with the understanding that the next year when they would have more money, they'd be able to give him what he's worth and give him a little bit more to make up for the money that they didn't give him in 1 year. You can get slick, you can get smart like that. You know what I mean? Divine, what was you about to say?
Yeah, real quick, man. If y'all haven't got a chance to read that article called Reputation by Julius Randle, you got to read it. Just go read it. It's called Reputation. He put it out there. I mean, this thing it'll give you chills down your spine. The way how bad he want to be a New York Knicks. I mean, it is amazing. I read it today, and the shit gave me goosebumps, dog. I'm telling you, it's called Reputation.
Sim, I sent it to you.
Okay. Yeah,
I sent it to you on your Twitter.
Man, listen, if you want to talk about a player who want to be a franchise player in New York, who truly want to be here, Julius Randle is that dude. There's no questions no more about the Knicks keep this guy after you read that. That read is phenomenal, man. It is amazing. I mean, so I would say, man, I think Julius Randle going to be here to stay. When you read the article, hopefully, it's amazing, man.
Yeah,
it really is, man.
I'll read it. I'll read it, but it's like Nathan said. That's the only thing that gives me concern after what happened, with the whole Jeremy Lin fiasco. He got an offer from Houston, and then we were supposed to match it, but then he went back to Houston and they upped it more. And don't say, yeah, we're not doing it. So I just don't want another, incident like that happening.
That can't happen under the CBA though. He only can get what he can get. He can't. They can't. Nobody. Everything the Knicks are offering, everybody else got to offer. But this is a different CBA when Jeremy Lin was doing all that. I don't think they could do that. His max is his max. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think. Yeah, I don't know exactly. I think they backloaded it, right? So they gave him something, and then they had 1 year that was like crazy amount of money. Then of course teams do all kinds of things, and we're putting in bonuses and stuff like that. Listen, that 4 years, 106, I think would be a great deal for the Knicks, for Julius Randle. The issue is, would Julius Randle look at it and say, I think I deserve more than that?
Right.
You know what I mean? He might decide, hey, nah, I don't want to work. I don't want that. So we'll see how that works out. If he wants to be in New York the way he wants to be in New York, then I'm sure him and the team will be able to come to some kind of consensus. And I think the Knicks would listen. They'll know by the end of next season. They'll know this could be a one-off year where Julius Randle is good this year, and makes the All-Star team, and the next year he's not as good. So you get next year and you see he's coming out and he's doing the same thing and going to either doing the same thing or going to another level. You're like, okay, you know what? In the middle of the year, you're like, you know what? Let's get this over with. Let's take him off the table, so we know we got a big piece to our plans. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then you gotta think about what goes on with Obi, right? Is Obi destined to be a backup? And and if you look at him right now, you're probably like, yeah, he's destined to be a backup. I don't see him starting. He's destined to be a backup. You know what I'm saying? Or or what happens there. So that's going to be something to watch over the next couple of seasons with the Knicks. A lot going on there. And listen, I'll tell you what. I'm playing 2K21, man, next generation. And look, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. I don't know what they do, but they get it. For the most part, they get it right when you play on the right level, right? So I'm playing on I'm playing on Superstar. I'm not on Hall of Fame right now. I'm playing on Superstar level, but they get it right. Freaking Nerlens Noel drops every pass that I give him. You know what I'm saying? It's a good thing I'm not 13 because I would have already thrown my controller at the wall. Every time, I run the screen and roll with him, boop, boop, I dip it off to him, he drops it on the ground. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is he doing? We're in practice. Boom, boom, boom. We running the fast break in practice. I'm like, yo, let's run this nice little 3-on-2 fast break. RJ pulls up a 3. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Or Austin Rivers takes some crazy drive to the basket. I'm sitting there screaming like, yo, these like they got these joints down to the T in what these guys do. And then, Obi.
Real life next gen simulation.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, simulation.
You know what I'm saying? But anyway, we'll see what happens. That's gonna be all right to talk about. Black Mama said that happens to him too. Yeah, see? You give it to Nerlens Noel, he drops that joint. You're like, oh my gosh, this guy's killing me right now. But look, the Knicks take on the Detroit Pistons tonight. I'm sorry I got to cut this short because I do have a meeting at 6 o'clock, and I got to finish preparing for that meeting. But I will be on for the post-game show, and I don't have that many meetings going into next week and the weeks after. I mean, if you want 100K, you can come to the meeting. You ain't getting my 100K, but you want somebody else's 100K.
Oh, it's too funny. It's too funny. Hey, just to let y'all know, I came back home from Orlando. I had all my Knicks gear on, and I had people coming up to me asking me, are we making the playoffs? And I said, hell yeah. So people know about us. People know that we coming.
Yeah. Ain't no doubt about that.
People know that we coming.
No doubt about that. Well, yo, I'm gonna head out so I can finish this meeting to make sure I secure my 100K with this client. But anyway,
go get it, brother. Go get it.
Make sure I secure my 100K with this client. And I got a couple meetings next week with a couple clients, but couple other clients, but it won't interfere with this here. You know what I'm saying? Anyway,
yes,
Devon,
absolutely.
Just your prediction for the night, man.
You know what it is. I think we're gonna go in there and do what we do, man. 19 and 18 at the end of the night. Come back at the post game show on fire. Real quick, everybody. Tomorrow night, Knicks Real Talk, the night show, 8:30. I'll send a link out in the chat tomorrow. So we give my man Sim some rest tomorrow, but I'm gonna go on there. Y'all come on to the show, man. So we can make some fire before the All-Star break. But it's all good, man. Salute to the chat, salute to the panel. NBK in the building, man. Let's get it tonight. Knicks 19 and 18 going into the All-Star break. Be on point, man. Let's get it. Let's
do it. Kev.
What else can I say after what Devon just said? Absolutely. Let's get this win. Let's not mess around. Get this win. Going 19 and 18, and then going to the All-Star break, and then let's just be ready to work against Milwaukee. I mean, they made it so that that they could try and knock us out early, and it didn't work. So they're gonna try and do it again, with the second half. Try and knock us out, in the beginning of the second half, and then at the end of the second half. Let's show them who we are. That's all.
No doubt. Hey, City.
I'm with it, man. I'm riding that train. Let's get this W, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Only thing we can't do is take these boys lightly. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want us to come in there, like, you know what I'm saying, thinking that something is automatic. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to go in there, play hard, play our defense, and we should come out with the W. Yeah, I'm with that.
All right. And Nate?
Yeah, I think the Knicks are going to win tonight. Is Derrick Rose playing?
He's questionable.
He's
because
questionable.
He's been released
we'll
back, but
yeah, we'll see.
I still think the Knicks will win, and hopefully we can shut down Dennis Smith. He had a triple-double last game. So
that was who they played last game?
That was last night. They beat was it the Raptors, man? They beat the Raptors.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really?
All right. We'll see. All right. We'll see what's up. Maybe he's hot. Hopefully he don't come into the garden trying to go crazy. My man, it's me, and you should give away more than the Obi Toppin rookie card now that you got that 100K. Ha ha.
Hey, I'm gonna stay on this bandwagon real quick. Oladipo dropped 33 last night. I'm telling you, I'm staying on a bandwagon. Oladipo, you need to come up here in New York and make it happen. 33 last night.
That'd be a nice fit.
Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. I'll catch you guys at the game preview, man.
Later,
Let me
man.
go.
See you later.
Get ready and take care of this meeting, man.
guys.
We out of here. Be peaceful, ladies and gentlemen. As usual, spread love. Be easy. We out.